Well, I basically lost my boyfriend to manosphere content. And he goes on my TV and he says, baby, I want you to watch this creator with me. I'm gonna put on Kevin Samuels. And I really do feel like that was the beginning of the end.
Big Shirley.
Rivah TV. What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I'm back again with another video. I was sent this video multiple times in the wonderful world of TikTok, and it was basically, I guess, a video about a woman explaining why, she's no longer with her boyfriend because of the manosphere. I have not watched the video. I'm going to watch it authentically with you guys. We're going to press play, pause, play, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions on this entire conversation.
Have y'all ever had a relationship fail because of the type of content that your boyfriend was watching? I just saw this girl, and I'm going to tag her below, and she was talking about how she lost her boyfriend to red pill content. Well, I basically lost my boyfriend to manosphere content. And that was the beginning of the end. I didn't know it, though. One day, I came home. I was in my vanity room. Okay, I have a room just for myself with my clothes and my makeup. In that room, I have a TV. One day, my ex, he comes in my room where I'm decompressing, mind you. And he goes on my TV and he says, baby, I want you to watch this creator with me, okay? And I said, oh, okay, because at this point, me and him has been together for about a good 3 years. So I feel like when he was suggesting content to me, it's because he thought that I also might enjoy it. So I said, oh, okay, what type of content does he make? And he says, well, he comes on his platform and he invites women on there and he basically argues with them. And I shit y'all not, the first question that came out of my mouth after he said that was, is he gay? Because in my mind, I don't know an actual real man who goes out about his way to argue with a woman just to tell her about herself. Because in my reality, okay, that don't happen, right? I didn't grow up with men who were around me that did that type of shit. And the ones that did do that type of shit, they were gay.
So this is the thing. I don't know yet who she's talking about in this conversation as I'm watching it authentically with you guys. But I think that the way that he even propositioned the conversation to her is a little strange. Like, propositioning the conversation to your woman and saying, this man argues with women on his platform. I don't know who exactly he's talking about because there's been so many people who have replicated conversations. But if, in fact, he's talking about the originator, who would be Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels offered women to come on his platform to give them advice and tell them how they can get the results that they want in relationships. It only turned into an argument or a disagreement when those women would get triggered. And somebody who used to watch that content, I know for a fact that he actually, once women got disrespectful and it got to a certain level, they were kicked off the program, already, immediately. So it wasn't really an argument that technically ensued. So I don't know if that's the person they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about some other people that I've maybe, seen that, go hard on women and tell them about themselves. I don't know. But again, him propositioning the conversation to her like that, already knowing that she might be opposing, is a little off.
So that's why I asked that question. He starts to laugh and he's like, nah, he's not gay. It's just that he likes to debate. He likes to go back and forth with the women and tell them how they're wrong. And I was like, okay, just go ahead and put it on. This put on Kevin Samuels. Mind you,
I haven't watched this, guys. I'm being real with you guys. I have not watched this video at all. I had no idea who she's going to say. And it's so funny because I had a very different creator in mind. Like, the more that this conversation keeps continuing, I had a very different person I was thinking of. I know that Kevin Samuels is the biggest with that kind of platform that brought women on. But under the guise of bringing women on and having a disagreement with them and wanting to debate, that's not what I would think of when I think of Kevin Samuels content. I was genuinely thinking somewhere completely different.
I did not know who the hell he was at that point. And most people didn't know who he was at that point because he didn't blow up yet. He puts him on. And mind you, I'm just listening because I'm not watching. I'm taking off my makeup and I'm hearing the content. I'm just like, I look at my ex at one point. I'm just like, can you take him off my TV, please? So my ex just starts to laugh and he's like, oh, what, you don't like him? I'm like, hell no, I don't like him. And then I start to question him, like, why the would I like him?
I agree with that. Why would she like him? Okay. When he played the Miss Shirley sound, and this is no disrespect. I'm just saying. based off of my observation. When he starts playing the wah, 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 you guys know all the sound effects that he used to use when he talked about Miss Shirley.
Big Shirley. All you have to do is wish upon a star. Makes no difference who you are. You can get into that bikini. Yes, that two-piece. Not a Popeyes two-piece, but that two-piece. You can get there. Yes. You can even get that navel ring. Ah, ha, ha. Big Shirley, there's hope for you.
When he talked about being fit, feminine, and friendly, that is all contrary to what I see this woman exuding right now. So, of course, she's not going to like that content, because the same way that the women who, then argue with Kevin Samuels are triggered, she's immediately going to be triggered. And to me, it sounds like what this man was doing was giving you some subliminal messages through somebody else because he didn't have the heart to have certain conversations with you. That's what it seems like to me.
So fast forward. Me and my ex get into an argument. So we get into this fight, and basically he asked me why I wouldn't do something, like, or why I wasn't taking him serious or paying attention to him about something he was trying to say. I can't really remember, but I told him I cannot take you seriously because you don't pay any of my bills. That's why I'm not taking what you're saying seriously. This motherfucker gonna say this is why women end up alone. I say, what women do you know that are ending up alone? He was like, that's the that I see when I'm watching those videos.
No, wait, and this is what I'm saying. He was trying to tell you this is why you're going to end up alone. Like, even though he's using the videos and the content for conversations, he's trying to send you signals about you. He's trying to say, no, this is why that's going to be your reality. That's what he was trying to say. Because he's saying if we are living together, if me and you are in a certain space and I can't lead my home and I can't tell you nothing and I can't dictate anything based off of the fact that I am not the sole provider of your bills, that means that your femininity is reliant on money. So it can be bought. That's not something, feminine women who grow up and they are just feminine in nature, they don't turn it on and off like a light switch depending on what somebody else can do for them. So when you have, femininity that you can tap into or you can't tap into based on the way that somebody else is reacting to you or doing stuff for you, that is performative. So it is in true fact that if you are only exuding performative femininity, performative submission, that over time you are going to eventually end up alone because you can only perform but for so long.
Because he started to watch just not only Kevin, but he was watching, other influencers who had the same type of content. So I told him, this is where I had to break it down for him a little bit. I hadn't hurt his feelings. I didn't really want to do it, but I'm just like, you getting out of hand. Like, you really getting out of line. I was like, I don't know why someone like you is watching content from people like them. You, first of all, don't have the same money as them. You don't have the same lifestyle as them. You don't have the resources they have, and you don't have the platform they have. So why the fuck is someone like you being influenced by someone like that? You, a grown-ass man, almost into his 30s, because at this point he was like 29, 28 or something like that. Almost into his 30s, you're listening to another grown man. You don't have your own ideology set. You don't have your own morals and values to follow. You're letting somebody else that don't even know that you exist influence you.
Okay, stick a pin. Hold on now, because I do have something I'm going to say about what she said, but this is very hypocritical. Because I can guarantee that the makeup that you're wearing is because you saw somebody else wearing similar makeup. I can guarantee that the hairstyle that you have is because you saw some other women that don't know you wearing a certain hairstyle. Women are the most who are easily influenced. That's why women are the biggest consumers because of things like influence, whether it be social media influence, whether it be commercials, whatever it is. So don't try to play that game like influence is a big problem, because it's not. Let's not act like that. But also, a lot of times what I've seen with this content is that a lot of men have had their own feelings, their opinions. What Kevin Samuels brought to a public platform is known for a lot of the times as like barbershop talk. Like these are the things that men have consistently talked about amongst themselves. And there's other men who were not privy to certain levels of conversation, and based on their backgrounds, based on the way that they were raised or whatever, and they thought that they just had to deal with whatever women present to them. And so wanting to change your mind 3 years into a relationship and realizing that a lot of the struggles that he's talking about with these women on the platform are the same struggles that I'm having, and I want to see if she's going to be self-reflective after listening to it. Again, I believe his approach was completely wrong. But in the same breath, I've had even women come to my DM, from watching my platform, and they say, I saw my husband watching your platform, and at first I was really upset about it, and I didn't agree with it. But after listening to your conversations, I began to be introspective of myself. And once I did look into myself, I realized that, I have some stuff within me that I can work on. And it changed my relationship for the better. Maybe that's what he thought was going to happen. Maybe he didn't know, the tree he was really barking up. Or like I said, maybe he was just trying to use that to have subliminal conversations with you and that were going over your head.
And you're a grown-ass man. You try to say you're a grown-ass man. That's crazy. I didn't understand that. I really didn't. Because, yeah, social media is fun. But I cannot say I've ever been influenced by a creator on here. Because if you're trying to sell me something and I don't want it, I'm going to keep scrolling.
I don't agree with that. And you said, if you're trying to sell me something and I don't want it. No, he wants the knowledge. It's not that he don't want the knowledge. That's what you're missing. He does want the knowledge. You don't want him to have the knowledge. You want to call him brainwashed because it's not something that is, supportive of what you want that relationship to be like. You calling him broke and saying he don't have money to pay the bills and he don't have his own mind, but you was with him for 3 years and you didn't have no problem with that. You only have a problem when he is now bringing a belief system that's contrary to what you want the relationship to be like, where you're no longer going to have a certain level of control. That's the real problem.
If it sounds like it don't sound right, I'm going to let you know it don't sound right. But it's hardly ever I get influenced by somebody on.
You said never. Now you said hardly ever. That's two different things.
Here. And this grown-ass man wants me to take him serious. The one that's getting influenced by somebody. The one that don't pay bills. You want me to take you serious? What the f***? I said you need to stop listening to because they got you.
Who are you to tell him what to listen to? Listen, I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. But who are you to tell him what he can and can't listen to? This grown man. Who are you?
And now you got me up. He just shut the f*** up. He didn't say nothing else. He didn't say after that. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk to you when I get home, and I hung up, and that was the end of that conversation. I should have known that that was going to be a problem, okay? Now, another thing too, if you have a boyfriend that has, and this is not all of them, this was just the one that I had, and there are many others that are like him, okay? So please don't get this confused, do not run with it, okay? Sometimes men, where they have an absence of a father in their life, if he sees a man talking about things that other men respond well to, then he will also try to adopt their ideas, adopt that behavior.
That's called male leadership and mentorship. This is not a strange phenomenon. You didn't just discover something. Like this is not a weird thing. Like if he doesn't have uncles or brothers or whatever. And again, it is not only that he's probably talking about these things with them because he's trying to jump on the train. Sometimes that might be true. A lot of times it's because they have this thought process of this girl's acting this type of way and I don't know how to deal with this foolishness. And now I have somebody who's exposing the real problems that I'm already having in my relationship and they're hitting the nail on the head. Like that's what it seems like to me. It's not some strange thing that's going on.
Because they think that a man is teaching them something that they don't know. Because they didn't have one growing up. So now they're looking for that. Is what I'm trying to say. I hope I said that right. My thing is this though. If you're going to listen to them type of people, you got to make sure everything else in your life matches up with them too. Okay? Not just your mentality about women. You got to make sure your finances match up. You got to make sure your looks match up. You got to make sure all the decisions that you make in your life got to match up with theirs too. See, it's more than just having, an influenced mind. Right? If you really feel like how that person feels and you want your life to reflect that, you want to move how they move, you got to have your whole life looking just like how theirs look. And his life wasn't looking like that. Okay, like I said.
We know. Like, we're aware. We are aware.
That he wasn't doing anything other than the bare minimum. And I really do feel like that was the beginning of the end. Tip of the iceberg. Also, it's no shade to Kevin Samuels. I know that that man passed away. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but that was part of my story. Also, I do want to say this, okay? I saw some comments in my last video that they were saying I was rage baiting. This ain't rage baiting. I told you what the happened and I left. I hardly even responded to most of the comments on there because most people thought that I was just saying just because I wanted to get reactions. No, I gave my confessional, my testimonial, and I left. Like, there really is nothing else, to rage bait about. I told y'all a story that happened to me, and that's it. But yeah, y'all, tip of the iceberg.
I want to know who left who, because it sounds like he already left you. The minute that he introduced certain conversations, I'm going to say it again, the way in which he brought the conversation forth to her didn't make any sense to me. That was a really like weird and ignorant way to do that. But also at the same point, he was already letting you know that he had a different mindset. And you telling him that if he wants to be like these people or the people that he, respects deeply and the mentorship that he was getting, that his life has to align with that. I believe that that's exactly what he was realizing. I believe he was realizing that his life does not align with, the fit, feminine, and friendly. His life does not align with him being the leader of the household. His life doesn't align with having a woman that submits to him. And so he tested some of those things when he asked you a question and your response was, you don't pay no bills, so you can't tell me what to do. And so in turn, he was like, okay, yeah, I'm starting to really learn that I'm having the same struggles that he talks about, right? And a lot of women don't take the time to know or don't realize that Kevin Samuels was worse on men than he is to women. Like, he was telling men about themselves for a long time. It only just caused a lot more controversy when he started to talk to women about themselves, because that's something that's unheard of, especially in the era that we're in. Like, how dare you hold women accountable? How dare you not look at women as these, pleasant gifts that can do no wrong? How dare you literally expose them to themselves and to other people? And so, again, I think that maybe that relationship ended for the better for the both of you. Okay, for him to, go off and find somebody that properly aligns with what he's wanting for his life, and for you to be able to say what you want to say, have an attitude, and go find somebody that you are assuming is going to be able to pay your bills. And unfortunately, you didn't have the opportunity to go have a conversation with Kevin Samuels, and he didn't get the chance or the opportunity to communicate to you how that situation of hypergamy works. Again, we're going back to the basis of that conversation with the fit, feminine, and friendly. Like, you honestly didn't get the opportunity to be receptive to the conversation to see how you could attract the man that you're wanting to cover all your expenses in your life. And, it's just crazy. Again, I authentically watched this with you guys. I had no idea that she was even going to be talking about him. I really thought she was talking about somebody else. I don't even want to call their name. But it's just crazy that that's what she got from that situation. And it's interesting to me as a woman to see other women's interpretation of his conversations. It's so funny to me. But as always, shout out to the late but great Kevin Samuels. I have nothing but love and respect for that man. I always have. And I support what he was doing and what he stood for at the base. Yes, you can talk about the delivery 100%. You can talk about the way that he had things to come across. You can talk about, if you knew him personally in your personal relationships. But what he stood for on his platform and the conversations that he had, I agree with. Majority of the things I agree with. From what I've seen and I've reacted to, I've always given my proper point of view to those things. So shout out to him and respect to him and his family. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.
Rivah TV.